Welcome back to the Claw and the King podcast, the long-awaited return. It is me and Zoop's back again. You might be thinking, why were we gone for about, 3 to 4 months? But the reason is we wanted to leave you with our season preview and then give you our season review and just leave out the middle.
Yeah, and all my correct player predictions, by the way, for all the major awards. I just want to put that out
No,
there.
I think I got more correct.
Kuzma for most improved player. That was a great one.
Yeah,
great.
He actually was
Great
very
prediction.
good this year. Way better than last year.
Yeah, all right.
But yeah, we've got a amazing show lined up for you guys today. I think so. To kick it off, we'll go through all the shit teams from this year. Say whether we think their season was a W or an L based on what they were perceived to be prior to the season, and then how we think those teams should progress going into next year. So I think we'll start off with the West teams. So we'll start off with last place, which was the Rockets.
Well, I mean, the Harden trade just epitomizes how much of a roller coaster and shit show it was for the Rockets this year. I think they tried to bring in competitive players like Oladipo. Didn't work. And really they should have gone with different trades for James Harden to get younger talent. But yeah, you look at the team that they've got. It's Christian Wood and
John Ball.
John Wall's old, mate. He's absolute dog shit. But you look at... They've got talent, though. I don't think that they're in as much despair as some other teams that we're going to mention, but I think that they've got building blocks. So Deshaun Tate, I think his name. I can't.
Kevin Porter Jr.
Kevin Porter Jr. That's another one. They got him for 2 second-round picks, which was a really good get for them. Christian Wood, obviously. So Kelly Olynyk's been balling, but I don't think he's a long-term thing. But look, they've been sort of a shit show all year. I feel bad for Steven Silas, but they do have building blocks there, so I don't think it's a complete and utter disaster there. However, if you look at the trades that they made, the Chris Paul, Russell Westbrook trade, they gave away a lot of first-round picks. And
so do they get their pick this year?
I'm not exactly sure. I think it's protected in some way, but I know that they've given up first-round picks for the next couple of years, which is going to hurt them more than other teams like the Thunder, because Thunder, they've got G League players, but they've got all their own picks. I mean, they got more trade for the Chris Paul trade. They got so many picks from both trades that they made with him. So yeah, I think it's not as bad as it could be or bad as it looks, but it's pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean, Houston have fucked it. They were a good team and now they're a bad team, so that's an L. I had them in my playoffs at the start of the year. Obviously, I thought James Harden would be there. But yeah, this season's a big L for Houston as far as I'm concerned. Finishing last, just unacceptable, Wooden spoon is shocking.
It's not
shocking.
Not great.
But yeah, if they do have their pick this year, obviously, that will be helpful. And they do have a few nice young players, as you said, so it's not... All hope is not lost yet. But yeah, okay, so we'll move on to OKC.
But I mean, I'm a Clippers fan, obviously, but watching that team, and we literally tried our very best to lose. We did everything we possibly could to lose, and we still should have won the game. That's how bad the Thunder are. I mean, their best players are like Ty Jerome. I mean, obviously they got SGA and Lou Dort, but they've been resting them. Look.
Don't they have Al Horford?
Yeah, but they don't even play him. They just like, you know what, Al, get that good old 30 mil.
Al Horford's a gun.
But yeah, look, future-wise, they're set. I mean, you look at the amount of picks they've got, and it's ridiculous. And this year they could get Cade Cunningham, obviously, guys like that in future, the upcoming draft. But look, they've got, like the Rockets, they do have good building block players. Like SGA, I miss him a lot. Something that I kind of regret with the Paul George trade is...
Oh, you want SGA over Paul George?
No, I don't.
Pandemic P?
Nope, I do not want him. But
you don't want him, okay.
No, but I do want him in the sense that it was such a miss in terms of... I didn't exactly predict him going to this length. And I thought he'd be a nice 17, 18 point per game scorer, but to him to go to like the level he's got to this year... I know he's not got great players around him, but the level that he's gone to this year is ridiculous. and he looks really, really solid. Lou Dort is an elite defensive player, and he's
Yeah, but
improved.
he's a bit shit.
Are you serious? I will not stand for the Lou Dort slander, okay, on this podcast.
His shot is horrendous.
His shot looks horrendous, but it's actually not that bad this year. I mean, if you look at the percentages, it's much, much better from what it was last year, and he's got good potential. So, again, like the Rockets, good picks, but, I mean, it's just been awful to watch them. I mean, it's like, you just want to tear your eyes out.
Yeah, I don't think I've watched a single Thunder game this year, unless it was against the Lakers. Yeah, they're fucked. It's probably going to be, I don't know, post-Westbrook era, it's probably going to be, I don't know, 5 to 10 years before they do something interesting. Even then, they could turn into the new Knicks and just never be good.
They've got a lot of picks in multiple years. Like, they've got something ridiculous like 12 first-round picks in the next, like, 3 or 4 years. So it's not like they've got, like, loads of picks in, like, 2028, 2029. They've got a lot of picks for these years. So I think that they can actually build a team very quickly. It's just whether their scouting department can identify talent well enough, or if they're going to trade for another superstar who's ever going to want to come.
No one will want to do that.
City. Right, next team.
Okay, Minnesota. I think Minnesota, despite not finishing well, I think they have quite a bit of upside based on this season. I think Anthony Edwards. I would honestly take Anthony Edwards over LaMelo Ball.
I do agree with Anthony Edwards, but my disagreement is, where do they go from here? How do you change this? Defense is clearly not good enough. They've got too many contracts that they've got to keep. Like D'Lo and Cat.
D'Lo and Cat are good.
Offensively, they cannot defend to save their lives. Anthony Edwards is looking like a really good player.
They can become Brooklyn. You don't need defense.
Yes, you do. Look, I'm more happy, and I don't want to say happy, but more optimistic about the future of OKC and Houston, based on the fact that they've got a shit ton of cap space. The Timberwolves don't have any. They are screwed. They cannot bring in free agents.
But they already have good players.
No, they've got good players, but then one-dimensional players. Like, I like Cat, I like D'Lo, but you can tell that defensively they're just not good enough. And you can see by the loss, I know it's a couple years ago now, but losing Jimmy Butler was probably the biggest mistake this franchise ever made.
Well, it wasn't a mistake. He forced his way out.
They should have wanted him to stay. The players in that locker room wanted him gone. And they've got to sit back and look at themselves like, wow, we made the playoffs when Jimmy was here. The day he left, we're one of the worst teams in the NBA.
Yeah.
Look,
Jimmy's that guy.
They have no defense. They have no identity.
No, but like they're just like they just needed like a Robert Covington or someone like that.
They already had Robert Covington.
Yeah, they did, but they just need someone like that now, just like a defensive wing.
No, it's like Portland for me. I like Portland. I'm sure we're going to talk about play-ins later, and when the playoffs start to form and you see the results of the play-in tournament, I think you're going to start to see a lot later. But it's similar to Portland. Their stars are one-dimensional. It's that Damian Lillard is a great offensive player. He's not great defensively. CJ, great offensive player, not great defensively. They're too small, Portland. Portland are way too small to succeed, but they're stuck because they've paid their superstars and their role players and their starters big-time money. So it's like the Timberwolves. I have zero... I don't know what you do. If I put myself in the GM shoes, what do you do?
You just try and get free agents, like mid-range free agents.
Who can you pay? It's not like they're in LA.
Yeah,
where
not
you can
not
get
any stars.
For
just
$8 million. It's the middle of back arse of nowhere in Minnesota. Like, sorry to the Minnesota.
You could get someone and just put them with make them a big three. Like, I don't know why they were starting Ricky Rubio over D'Lo at the end of the year. Like, what are they doing?
I just don't like their prospects for the future over the previous two teams we mentioned. But yeah.
Okay. All right, on to Sacramento. I think Sacramento is the biggest L of this year because it's becoming like a yearly thing where everyone says this is the year they're going to take the leap, they're going to be a playoff team, and they show it for a few weeks. Like, they're in the playoff race at the start of the year, every year, and then they always fall off. So I'm starting to question De'Aaron Fox, Buddy Hield, I don't know. The coach, Luke Walton, I don't know.
Well, I mean, they're slowly taking over. I think they have already taken over, but I think they've overtaken the Clippers in terms of being the most disappointing and stupid franchise in the NBA, the most irrelevant franchise. their problem is, again, it's like Minnesota. They pay Buddy Hield $80 million. They pay...
Buddy Hield is good, though.
Yeah, but they've got too many one-dimensional... Like, I love De'Aaron Fox. But again, this organization has made so many mistakes in terms of draft picks other than De'Aaron Fox in the recent years. I mean, you look... I can think back and remember Nick Stauskas they drafted. I mean, these couple... Marvin Bagley over Luka Doncic and Trae Young. I mean, these players that they're passing on and drafting these role players instead of them is ridiculous. And I just... Again, it's like Minnesota. You're stuck because you're paying all these guys a lot of money, and I just feel bad for Sacramento and Sacramento fans because they're just.
I mean, they don't have any fans. So they're irrelevant.
I mean, they're pretty irrelevant, but it's just bad, man. Sacramento. A lot of these West teams. It's just depressing just talking about them because the teams in the playoffs have got star players. They've got good emerging young talent. But then you look at Sacramento and you're like, where do you go? De'Aaron Fox surely is going to want out sooner or later.
Well, I think he's getting into that sort of where Devin Booker was last year, where it's like...
Are you going to get a Chris Paul? Are you going to get an influential veteran like that? To sort of? And Luke Walton, I don't think is a good coach, but I don't think that's their main problem. I think ownership and management over the past, 10, 15 years has been horrendous. And they're just stuck in... The problem that you have if you're stuck in this area is that you're going to get not a good enough pick to have a franchise-changing player. So you're going to get... Unless you get lucky. So you're going to get like a 10th, 11th overall pick. So you're not bad enough to get a good player, but you're not good enough to make the playoffs and compete. You're stuck in this this isle of mediocrity where you can't go anywhere. So it's just... It's just bad for them.
Yeah, they are down bad. Okay, finally in the West.
That's not what that means, but yeah, go ahead.
The Pelicans.
The Pelicans.
Oh the Pelicans, like they were competitive at times, but they did miss the play-in. I think, I don't know if Lonzo's going to stay or not, but I think they do have a good core there. Obviously, Zion is insane. Brandon Ingram is very good as well. I think they just... I don't know. They either stick with Lonzo or they get rid of him, but I don't know who they bring in if they let him go.
Just another team that can't play defense. I mean, it's just depressing to watch them play defense. It's like, holy crap! Do you
think no one can play defense? Is that your problem with everyone?
I enjoy good defense, and when you see players, and Zion's not a very good defender, and we all know that, but offensively he's elite. So. But I think, obviously, I didn't agree with Stan Van Gundy being hired in the first place. I actually had them to sneak into the playoffs this year. Obviously, that's not happened. And it's just been... It's like over the past 2 years, it's been like you're just waiting for them to eventually get a run of games and win a bunch of games in a row. You're waiting and waiting and waiting, and then it just doesn't come. I think they've obviously got the talent. I mean, you look at their starting 11. Even Bledsoe...
There's only 5 starters, but yeah.
You look at the talent then. Shut up. So, you look at even the talent that they've got.
Bledsoe? You say Bledsoe is good?
Bledsoe. No, I don't mean... But you look at that starting lineup.
They traded Drew Holiday for Bledsoe.
I know. But look, I know a couple... And a lot of first-round picks. But you look at their starting 11. Lonzo, Bledsoe, Ingram, Zion, Steven Adams. That team should make the playoffs. I'm sorry. That team should make the playoffs. Am I being ridiculous?
I mean, it could make the playoffs. I don't know if it should.
It should.
That
should...
In 3 years...
That team in Dallas. What's the difference?
Luka and
Zion.
KP.
Brandon Ingram.
No, but I think Luka right now is better than Zion. He's much more developed.
He's more complete. But I can argue that Brandon Ingram's a better player than Chris. I'm saying, if you look at other teams in the league that are in that 5th, 6th... I mean, look at the East. Knicks, how they got the 4th seed. You've got to be over 500 with that team. I don't care who you are or what coach you have. Any coach should be over. Professional basketball league coach should be over 500 with that team. That's just my opinion. But hey, they've got a lot. They're not out of it because all their talent is young. So I think they just need to retain Lonzo this off season.
You think they should keep him?
Yeah, I think he's a very.
I want them to keep him.
I think he's ascending.
I think Zion and Lonzo could be like that duo that sort of, like that Kobe and Shaq type thing.
Yeah, I think they're. I do. Oh, Kobe. Hold up. I don't think that's exactly correct.
They could be an iconic duo.
They could be very, very good, but I think it's a team that just needs. It would need like They need like a doc, and they need
a doc,
a guy that can
they
get them
they
defensively.
need a shit coach.
They need a guy that defensively can get them in the right place. And look, we're gonna have to see with the Pelicans, but every time the Clippers play them, we lose to them because offensively they're so dangerous, but defensively no one can stop them. No, they can't stop anyone. Sorry. So yeah, it's a bit of a shit show with the Pelicans as well, but they got young talent, so they should be fine for the future.
Okay, so that caps off our Western Conference eliminated team review. Quickly go through the East now, starting with Detroit. Detroit's just horrendous season. They started the year with Drummond, right?
No, Cavs did.
Okay, well
Drummond's been in the Cavs for like 3 years.
No, he hasn't.
For like a year and a bit, yeah.
Okay, well, they've lost Drummond. They lost Griffin this year. They lost Rose. So they've gone full rebuild, but they don't really have much to rebuild with.
I think it was
They've got a few nice young players, but...
Well, they cleansed their team. They got rid of the players that... I mean, over the past, really, 1 to 2 years, they've gotten rid of the players that have just been sucking the Pistons dry. Guys, even though Reggie Jackson's on my team, I think he's played very well for the Clippers this year. He was on like 17 mil a year. Blake Griffin was on max money. Drummond was on max money. It was just... They just had too many... It was like the Kings. It was like the Kings, where they have all these salaries that they have to pay, but they're just stuck in mediocrity. So there's no point in having them. But I like what they did this year in terms of they got rid of D Rose because they would have helped them win. They need some teams in the NBA need a hard reset, and when you lose your competitors and your best players, you need to lose. I know it's a harsh reality. I know fans don't want to see losing, but they needed to lose this year. And you saw some good rookies for them. You look at Isaiah Stewart, Sadiq Bey, guys like that really stepped up for them.
Killian Hayes.
No, he was terrible. And he was the highest pick that they made as well. The other rookies were better than him. But look, it all depends on the draft. The lottery is, because it's so less predictable now who gets the top picks in the lottery, I actually think that it's going to be quite interesting to see if the worst teams in the NBA actually get the picks, actually get the best picks, or is it just going to be like when the Pelicans got Zion, and whether you get like the 10th best odds, and then you get the number 1 pick. So it's going to be very interesting. I think the draft lottery has become really, really interesting because of the rule changes. So it's going to be interesting.
So moving on to Orlando, the Magic. The last few seasons they've sort of been that 7-8 seed, just making up the numbers in the playoffs. This year they decided to just scrap it, get rid of Fournier, Vucevic, Gordon, and they've ended up where they have.
Look, it should have happened 2 years ago. Let's be real. The Vucevic re-signing a couple years ago was bizarre to me when they just drafted Mo Bamba. I think it's going to be a common theme when evaluating these really bad teams. You've got to know when to quit. The Clippers, when we decided Blake Griffin and Chris Paul weren't it anymore, and DeAndre weren't it anymore, we traded them away. We got young players, we got future picks, we got SGA.
You're lucky that Kawhi wanted to go there.
But we had all those picks. We had all those Miami picks stocked up, and Kawhi, we made a run-in for Kawhi, and we knew we had the picks to trade for a superstar as well. So I think that these teams have got to realize when to reset. And Orlando, I think, wisely this year were like, you know what? What's the point of making the 8 seed and or making the 8 to 10 seed every year and losing? I think the Vucevic trade was smart. And look, their team sucks. I mean, again, we played them. It's just horrendous. What Chuma Okeke is like their best player. It's
Terrence Ross.
Terrence Ross is coming off the bench. I mean, they did actually get Wendell Carter, who's been playing semi-decent for them. And I do like how Mo Bamba's getting some touches now. But again, it's like, geez, you just watch some of these. I mean, the difference in class between the top teams in the league and the bottom teams is just absolutely astounding. To see teams like Orlando have such ass. Yeah,
they are shit. Okay. So moving on, we've got Cleveland. I think Cleveland are just, I don't know. without LeBron James, they just apparently cannot be good. It's impossible for them. For some reason, they've still got Kevin Love on their roster. He plays about 3 games a year.
You see his inbound.
Yeah, just plays about 3 games.
Here you go, mate. Here's a ball.
Walks on the court, gets pissed, and then goes over rest. But yeah, I don't know. They had Drummond, they got rid of him. They got Jared Allen, which I guess is good. Sexton and Garland were very good at the start of the year. Everyone was getting hyped on them, and then they kind of fell off. But yeah, I don't know. I don't see much improvement in that roster. Unless Sexton and Garland do take another leap.
Well, I do actually. The Cavs have been going through turmoil ever since LeBron left. I mean, they hired a Coach Beeline, who had it was really old. He was a really sort of big college coach, and then they brought him in with a whole new staff. And Tristan, you saw the Tristan Thompson thing that happened on the court, and it was just. It's been a shit show for really the past 2 years ever since LeBron left, or 3 years now since LeBron left. But yeah, I do actually like some of their talent. I'm not going to say that they're transcendent or they're perennial all-star talent, but look at Sexton. He's a very good player, very good offensive player especially. Garland's a good player. Isaac Okoro, especially with Garland being out and Sexton being out some games, he's actually stepped up quite well. But again, I think they're going to fall into where Sacramento have been for many years. They're just going to fall into mediocrity because it's not like they've got bad players. You look at Detroit's and Orlando's team compared to them, and the Cavs actually got decent players. You've got Larry Nance there. You've got, obviously you mentioned Kevin Love. You've Jared Allen they brought in, who's actually, I think, is going to be their cornerstone. So I think they could either, depending on decisions and depending on smart draft picks, I think they could either go from being... They could either be mediocre or they could be a really solid playoff team and a really bright team for the future. So I don't think they're as dim as people think they are, because I do think their talent is young. But they've got to find a way to get they've got to get a 6-man. They've got to get starters that can play in playoff situations. But I do actually like the Cavs. I'm not as low on you as them as you.
Okay. All right. Okay, next up we have the biggest surprise for me. I had Toronto making the playoffs this year.
Same.
Yeah, I don't know really where it all went wrong. I mean, I guess Siakam's just fallen off a cliff since he was an all-star. I mean, Van Vliet got injured a bit. Lowry was out. I don't know. I feel like their roster was still good enough to make the playoffs. Obviously, they traded Norman Powell halfway through the year. But yeah, I feel like now Lowry should go. I think they should probably try and rebuild, because I don't think this roster can get them back to the chip anytime soon.
Well, yeah, they've just completely given up the past couple of weeks. You look at the team, and it's like Stanley Johnson's their best player, and they got Malachi Flynn, and their team isn't very good. But look, again, it's disappointment for the Raptors. I think they thought without Kawhi that they could sort of do what they did last year, but it's not looking too good. I think OG Anunoby, they gave him big money. I don't know if he's going to transcend to a guy that can average 18 a game and play elite defense. He can play elite defense now, but I don't know if his offense is going to catch up to his defense. You look at Kyle Lowry, he definitely should go, and I think he will go. But I do like Siakam. I know he's very repetitive as a player to watch. He does a lot of post spins.
Didn't he miss like 45 game-winning shots this year? Or something?
He's not very good in the clutch. But I still think he's got a lot of talent, and you saw with that championship run how good he was. The Raptors again are tough to evaluate because it's just been such a surprise to see them fail this bad. I think Aaron Baines has been absolutely horrendous for them, and if you speak to any Raptor fan, they'll say, "Oh my God, oh God, he's the worst thing since."
He's Aussie.
I know he's Australian, but I got to point out his shit. I mean, he was great for the Suns and Celtics over the past couple of years, but yeah, I don't know exactly how to feel about the Raptors. It's tough to figure out because I think they still want to contend because they've got to contend. They've got a really good head coach. They've got Masai Ujiri, who's like the top general manager in the league. I want to see what they do if they push for if they trade their picks to try and contend and get another superstar player and convince Larry to stay, or if they're just going to say, you know what, fuck it, let's just rebuild, let's get a superstar, let's get a generational talent to come through to play with Siakam. It's going to be interesting to see what they do.
Yeah. Okay. And finally, in the East, we've got Chicago. Chicago, they sort of turned out to be half decent halfway through the year. They decided to make a push for the playoffs, traded for Vucevic. Didn't really work out. Obviously, Zach LaVine is a monster. But I don't know how long he can stay in Chicago if they can't put the right players around him. He also is in danger of sort of being similar to De'Aaron Fox, where they're just really great players on just bad teams.
I agree. Look, it's taken me by surprise how bad they've been since they got Vucevic and Daniel Tice and players like that. It's been remarkable almost, because you thought surely, okay, well, they were in the play-in scenarios.
Yeah, they were. And
you think, okay, surely they're going to push on. They're probably going to get a 6th seed or a 5th seed, maybe in the East, and they're going to get a guaranteed playoff spot and try and really to push the 3rd or 4th seed. But you watch them, and it's like, God, it's another bad... I mean, everyone knows that Vucevic isn't a great defender and Zach LaVine isn't the best of defenders. But you expect them to do better. You look at the talent there. Kobe White, Zach LaVine, Vucevic. I mean, they've still got... Lauri Markkanen hasn't turned out to be as good as he was his rookie. His rookie season was really, really impressive, and he's just sort of stayed the same, and it's not been that impressive. Look, I'm the Bulls. If I'm the Bulls, I don't know what to do. Because you've basically said, you know what, we think LaVine and Vucevic is going to be the future. We think they can really contend in the playoffs. But this season, they've just showed that they need more. They need defensive talent around them. Now, they do have Patrick Williams, who I think has played reasonably well. Obviously, it was a big surprise when they drafted him number 4 overall. But I think he's surpassed my expectations at least. So it's going to be interesting. But I have no faith in the Bulls in an organization. I mean, Jim Boylan, that was a mess. I think Billy Donovan as a coach is overrated. I mean, last year with Chris Paul, he was elite.
When he was in OKC, everyone was saying he was overrated.
Yeah, for his entire career in OKC, he was basically on the verge of losing his job. Chris Paul comes there, they play unbelievably well. I think that's more Chris Paul than Billy Donovan.
I think this year proves that. Yeah,
and I think last year everyone thought he was a great coach again, but I think CP3 is just such a great impact, has such great impacts on teams. You see on like ESPN sometimes when you're watching the nationally broadcasted games, and you see like the win percentage before he gets there and after he gets there is ridiculous. But the Bulls, it's going to be tough to try and... I mean, I think maybe it's chemistry issues with them. I think they need an off-season to really have a full-on training camp, but yeah, I don't know what the ceiling is for them exactly.
Yeah, all right. Well, that concludes our eliminated teams review for this season. Okay, so now we will move on to previewing the play-in games.
Which one do you want to hit first, Oski?
Let's do Indiana-Charlotte first.
Oh, great. All right. Let's just get this out of the way. No one
Charlotte
gives a shit
wins.
about this game. No one gives a shit, okay?
Charlotte wins. Next.
Yeah. I think Indiana wins, to be honest, but, I mean, who gives a fuck? Let's just move on.
Okay. All right. Boston versus Washington.
I mean, these teams don't like each other at all, so I actually really like this matchup.
Couple playoff series back in the day.
Without Jaylen Brown, I think the Wizards take it. Even though I do like Jason Tatum, and I do think he can put up 30 in his sleep.
I mean, well, the Celtics have been very underwhelming this year.
Yeah. Again, but then I think back to their playoff experience. I think in big games, the Celtics have performed.
For me, I just think
they're used to this playoff
atmosphere. If Kemba can play well, then they're a chance.
But he's like it's like I wish I had a Maserati and $100,000 in my pocket right now. But yeah, Kemba Walker has been unbelievably inconsistent. I mean, he's either 4 for 16 shooting, or he's either got 33 points. I mean,
yeah. So I think if he plays well, they're a chance. If not, then I think
I do actually. I'm probably going to watch this game because it's a really, really interesting game, and it's going to be interesting to see who wins. And I do think, obviously, they're not going to challenge Brooklyn or Philly, but it's going to be, I think, a lot more interesting than maybe, I don't know, Bucks. Bucks and who's 6 seed again?
Miami. That's a good series.
Oh, that is a good series. Never mind. But I think it's going to be a lot more interesting than people sort of anticipate.
I think this resurgent Westbrook strikes fear into the heart of whoever he's playing.
I think he's overrated. I do think he's overrated. I
did as well, but this year he's surprised me. Like, I thought he was falling off hard.
Look, he's the biggest ball hog in NBA history. Let's be real. He's the biggest ball hog that has ever lived.
No, James Harden is bigger in Houston.
Are you serious? I've never seen someone take as many dribbles as Russell Westbrook without doing anything. At least James Harden's going through his legs. Russell Westbrook... That's basically what he does. But no, I do think he's a very good player and he's all-star level, of course. And at the start of the season, they were absolutely horrendous. But I don't think their depth is nowhere near good enough. But they've got talent there. So I think there is something to build there, but they need to do it quickly because Russell Westbrook's prime is going to... I don't want to say be over soon, but it's not going to
he's like 32.
Yeah.
He's getting up there. Okay, so I'm going to take Washington.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. Okay, on to the West. Memphis versus San Antonio. What, it's not a good game?
No.
You got DeMar DeRozan.
Look, let's be
Morant.
real. The West is going to be Warriors-Lakers. Can we just say that? Can we just say that those two teams are going to make it?
Hopefully.
But no, I do actually like watching the Grizzlies play. They play very tough. I do like the head coach. I think they've got a lot of grinders on that team. A lot of underrated players. The entire Grizzly team really is underrated. You look
Not really.
No, in terms of the media coverage of them, Dylan Brooks, Desmond Bain.
He shoots the ball like
Desmond Bain,
fucking 4-year-old.
But look, Dylan Brooks, Desmond Bain, Grayson Allen, Jaren Jackson, John Morant. I don't think is underrated, but there's a lot of Grizzly players that are underrated because no one cares about the Grizzlies. But I actually think this game is going to be interesting.
I think it's just out of DeMar and Ja, whoever plays better wins.
Yeah, I agree.
It's basically but yeah, I'll take Memphis.
Yeah, I'll take Memphis. Oh, do I want to agree with you all the time? I'm gonna take San Antonio.
Okay. And the most interesting game for the play-ins, the defending champion, best team in the league, Lakers, against the MVP in Steph Curry.
Well, I think it's going to be the Warriors by 30, to be honest. No, I do think it's going to be a win by the Lakers. I think...
Yeah.
I hope it's actually...
No doubt.
I do hope it's a win by the Lakers, so the Clippers verse them in the conference finals, and we didn't lose.
If they make it.
We didn't lose to the Thunder on purpose for no reason. But I think the Lakers are far and above a better team than the Warriors. Look, the Warriors have got Steph Curry. They've got him. But you look at their depth, it's horrendous.
Well, they've got Wiggins. Wiggins is...
No, but
right.
If you look at their bench, they've got Jordan Poole off the bench, who's sort of surged this year, who's played really well. But other than that, it's horrendous. Kevon Looney, I think, starting now. And then you've got guys like Blazemore, whatever you want to call him. Nico Mannion. It's just, the depth is just horrendous. But I do think if Curry can somehow pull a 50 game out of his ass, I think it could be an interesting game. But I just think the Lakers' defense is going to be too much for the other players of the Warriors.
Yeah, I'm taking the Lakers for sure for the chip. We're going undefeated, 17-0.
Oh yeah, sure you are.
17-0. So you're taking the Lakers, your arch enemy?
I'm not going to be stupid about it. I'm not going to be like Skip Bayless, who's just going to say against LeBron because he hates LeBron. I'm just going to be honest and say that obviously I think the Lakers are going to go far, but I don't think they're going to beat the Clippers. That's damn sure.
Okay, all right. So, all right, that's the plan. Okay, so we're going to move on now to soccer. The sport.
Don't you dare
the most
say
dead sport
soccer
in the world.
again, please. If you say soccer again, I'm just going to punch you in the face.
It's soccer
I'm
over
going to
here.
get up. I'm going to leave if you say soccer again.
It's not football here.
It's football.
It's not.
No one with a brain should say soccer. Are you American?
I'm Australian.
Howdy, partner. We call it soccer over here because we're fucking retarded.
Yeah, we are descendants of America.
No. Are you stupid?
We're descendants of America. American culture.
What are you talking about?
We watch American TV.
But not, do you know what the word descendant means?
Yeah.
What does it mean?
We descend from them.
No, we don't.
Yeah, we do.
You know, descendant means like lineage throughout
I know what
ancestry.
is. Yeah, but still.
Still what?
We descend from England and America.
No, we don't descend from England. We just descend from England, you retard.
Yeah.
Oh my
in
god.
soccer.
And he thinks this is why the Lakers aren't going to win because you have people like that supporting them. Anyway, yeah. What do you want to talk about? Football.
I don't know. You're the one who wants to talk about
All
it.
right. Hey, calm your titties.
The
right,
role of
buddy.
owners in the top 6
Okay, yeah.
clubs.
The role of owners. Look, the owners. The thing I want to rant about is mainly the Glazers and the Cronkies. Now, I'm trying to educate this fool because he knows absolutely jack shit about football.
The
Now-
Glades and the Cronkies.
The Glazers, the Glazer family, who
Glazers.
owns the Manchester United, and the Cronkies, who own...
Sounds like a game war.
kind of is in a sense. Look, there's been many protests outside Old Trafford and the Emirates. And look, it's going to take a lot to get them out, and I think it's going to be... It's just, football has got so much money associated with it that it's so hard to get these owners out because they're constantly making money off it, and why would you sell? And the asset itself is so valuable. And I think, I don't know how you're going to get them out really unless some Saudi's going to buy the club for a ridiculous amount of money. And it's just going to be depressing because there's always going to be a limit. And you look at the likes of Chelsea, and you look at the likes of Man City, whose owners have constantly invested in that football club. And you look at Manchester United and Arsenal, and the money's just been taken out. And I know we spent a lot of money on transfers, but that's because we make the most in the world. Like, we make the most, excluding probably the
last year and a bit because of COVID, in terms of attendance, in terms of advertising, in terms of sponsorship, in terms of merchandise, Manchester United make the most money. And to see the Glazers who just take money and take. Can you guess who you know how much Ronaldo was sold for, right? No, from Manchester United to Real Madrid. 80 million. Guess who we bought with that money? Go guess.
Pogba.
No. Yeah, this was back in 2008.
Ibra.
2008.
Oh, 2008.
When we sold Ronaldo.
Let
Let me give you.
What position was it?
It was 3 players.
Three
All right.
players.
Obertan, Michael Owen,
Oh, Michael.
and
Isn't he a
Valencia.
legend? Yeah, Valencia's good.
We spent about £10 million on those fuckers, and we sold him for 80 million. They've just been taking money. Sir Alex Ferguson won a premiership with Anderson and Daniel Gibson in midfield. I mean, Lindegaard was in goal. When we... Alright, so, okay, we might have had a break there. But, yeah, just to reiterate, fuck the Glazers. Fuck them right up the arse. Fuck the Cronkies.
Fuck the Glazers.
Yeah, thank you. He used to be
Fuck the Mayweathers.
Okay. Alright. But, yeah, it's just like... I just hate them. And they're just Yanks. They're Yankees, you know that? They're fucking American.
Isn't that New York?
No. Oh
New
my
York
god.
Yankees.
You are so uncultured, it's unbelievable.
New York Yankees.
No, that's not what Yankee means, you retard.
What does it mean?
Yankee means American, basically. It's a slang word
So
for
it is New
stupid
York.
American. It's used as a derogatory term by English people.
Filthy Yankees.
I wouldn't say it like that, just to call
It's
them
like
Yanks.
it's like Poms.
Yeah, basically.
Stupid
Yeah,
Poms.
it's basically what you say for Poms. But yeah, it's... So these Yanks that own our football clubs, and they've just taken money out of it and spent it on... Stan Kroenke owns the Denver Nuggets.
Damn.
The Glazers own the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who just won a Super Bowl. So they just spend all their money on American shit and just leave English people out to dry like fucking...
And then try and make the Super League.
Yeah, the Super League. Just to reiterate, fuck the Super League as well. How they just thought they could just get away with stealing our football club away from us was just absolutely laughable. That was... it was like almost... When you heard the news, I don't know about you if you knew, but I know you don't care as much.
Nah, I watched it on YouTube.
I know...
Darry Neville.
Yeah, okay. I know you don't care as much about football as I do, but when you heard the news that basically all the big clubs were going into a Super League, it was almost like we lost our football clubs. I felt like, oh my god, Manchester United might not even be a football club anymore, because the Premier League was threatening to sort of get rid of them, essentially, from the leagues, and just felt like Manchester United would be no more, and I think every Manchester United fan across the world was, and every basically big club across the world, because in the top 5 leagues, all the big clubs joined. It was just depressing time, and I'm glad it's over. But still, fuck the Glazers. They need to get out of my fucking football club. Just want to reiterate that.
Maybe you should like do something about it.
What?
I don't know, like fly to England and just
Fly to England and they don't
sort
live in
them
England.
out.
That's the thing. They don't even live in England.
Oh.
They live in fucking ranches in fucking Yanktown in America. So I might fly to America. I might just say
give them a call.
Yeah, just give them a good old bird.
Okay. After that, truly tremendous rant, very passionate.
Thank you. I'm gonna keep on doing it. By the way, every podcast,
Okay.
I'm just gonna subtly mention how much I hate Glazers.
Top 4 race. Is that a thing?
Top 4. God, this is like a one-man show here. Jesus Christ.
What,
Okay.
this is what you want to talk about?
Yeah, because it's important. Okay, top 4 race. So it's kind of hitting up. Manchester City and Man United already locked in the top 4 basically. It's Leicester.
Let's go.
So it's
Up
gonna
the
be
Reds.
Up Liverpool.
No, Manchester
Yeah,
United.
so Reds are sort of. You got to be careful.
Aren't they
there.
called the Reds? Red
Yeah,
Devils.
Yeah, you got to be sort of careful.
Red
there.
Devils.
So Liverpool, Leicester, Chelsea, I think are the main sort of contenders for the top 4, and I think it's going to be interesting because Liverpool just won a last-minute winner for West Brom, and obviously I don't want Liverpool to make the top 4, so it's going to be very interesting. Leicester and Chelsea have a harder schedule as well coming in.
How many games are left?
I think Leicester and Chelsea got 2, and I think
2.
Liverpool have got 3. I might be mistaken. I think Liverpool might have just played their game in hand, so I think they've all got 2. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting. What's your opinions on those 3 football clubs?
Currently Liverpool are obviously on the outside looking in, from my extensive knowledge.
Okay, Google.
Yeah, Tottenham still a chance.
No.
West Ham still a chance.
Nope.
West Ham are good now. What the fuck?
I know. See, this is what you get for not watching football for like 10 years.
Arsenal are in 9th. That's embarrassing.
That's just laughable.
Okay, so it's basically Chelsea and Liverpool really fighting for the last spot.
Well, Leicester is still contending.
Well,
No, they could still be kicked
Leicester's a bit ahead.
By how much? It's not that much, is it?
They're 2 points ahead of Chelsea.
Yeah, exactly. 1 game.
Oh.
So, yeah, I think that... I hope Leicester and Chelsea make... I don't really like rooting for Chelsea, but to be honest, they're better than Liverpool.
I like Drogba, so I like Chelsea.
I fucking hate Drogba.
What? He's
In
cool.
the FA Cup final, he chipped over Edwin van der Sar, and we lost the FA Cup final because of Didier Drogba.
Yeah, and he won the Champions League. That
Yeah,
was
but
sick.
I hate Drogba, okay?
Okay.
Don't ever mention his name. No, but, look, it was...
Wow, Man City are 13 points ahead.
I know.
Fuck me.
Well, we kind of lost on purpose to a couple of teams because we had like 3 games in a row, and like 3 games in like 5 days for Manchester United. But I do hope that Chelsea can make it and Leicester can make it, but it's going to be tough. I think Liverpool have got the momentum right now. They beat Man United.
And Chelsea are playing Leicester.
Yeah.
So that will decide it basically.
Well, I mean, it could decide it, could not. It depends on how Liverpool do, but yeah, it's going to be very interesting. And then you look at the Champions League final.
Who's playing?
Chelsea.
And Man City.
Mm-hmm.
What?
I know, it's all English. I mean, it could have been Arsenal. It could have been
How
Arsenal,
the
Man United.
fuck did Chelsea make the Champions League final?
Because they've got good players.
Who?
Okay, they spent a lot of money this off-season, and they got guys like Kai Havertz. You know who that is? Yeah.
Is he German?
Yeah, good job. Timo Werner, who's played shit, to be fair. Thiago Silva they brought in. See, you know.
Isn't he like old?
Yeah, he's old. But yeah, I do think that Chelsea is going to lose to Man City. I know I say that regretfully because I really don't want Man City to win a European Cup. But yeah, it's going to be depressing when they do. It's just going to... I just have a feeling that Man
Is this
City
their
are
first
gonna
one?
Yeah, they haven't won one.
Uh-huh.
It's kind of the only thing that Man United have over him right now. So it's just kind of want Chelsea. Come on, Chelsea. Come on, Chelsea.
We'll see if Man City become the Clippers and choke this. And
Well, the
maybe
Clippers never get to a final, so it's completely different.
I mean...
Look, to be honest, I'd rather Man City win the Champions League and
Than
Clippers
Chelsea.
win... No, I'd rather Man City win the final of the Champions League and the Clippers win the NBA Finals. I would prefer that scenario over Chelsea winning and then the Clippers losing. So
Yeah.
because I do love my Clippers, but I do love Manchester United more, to be honest. Football is the best sport in the world, and there is no doubt about
No,
that.
it's about 7th.
But yeah, I don't think that people are saying, you see on, sort of True Geordie's channel and people like that, True Geordie is?
Yeah, I watch his fighting videos.
Yeah, see, he has like a podcast where he watches, does like watch-alongs for football, and he's got Man City guys on there, he's got Chelsea guys on there, and they sort of debate how can Manchester City sort of overtake Man United in terms of being, in terms of trophies and stature of the club, how they can overtake them. And I think it's going to take time, but I think it's possible. I mean, you look at, and I think it's all down to ownership. We'll go back, you could sort of circle back to ownership. Man City's owners have invested so much money into the city and into the youth players, and facilities and first team, compared to the Glazers where Old Trafford's fallen apart. I think it's going to take time, but I do think City can overtake them in the next 10 years. I think it would have to be 10 years. But Man United...
I don't think they can.
Well, it's about young fans. Young fans won't remember the 99 treble. They won't remember, 2008 in Russia.
No, but when you look at Manchester United, you just see history,
Yeah, but
when you look at Man City,
it's all about perspective.
When you look at Man City, you just see like commercialized team.
But I mean, if you're born in like 2011 per se, or 2008 or something like that, you're not going to remember. You don't have any knowledge or like any first-hand experience.
No, but
of Man United being dominant.
You just follow whoever your dad does. So like your kid will follow Manchester United. It's just
but
it will just keep going.
It will, but I do think that over time, if Man City continue this dominance, it's just going to be depressing to see them overtake them, considering where they started and how they just got bought by a bunch of rich oil merchants.
Isn't the Dortmund dude going there?
Haaland, him and Kane just handed in his transfer request this morning.
Oh, so he's going.
Well, he's got a long contract. I think his contract ends in 2024. And it's going to take a lot to buy him. It's going to be upwards of £120 million. And I think Man City should and will go after him. But again, Haaland wants to leave this off-season, and so does Harry Kane. And I don't think Man United should go after either. And I don't think they will. Because striker's not our main priority. We need...
Yeah, but Haaland's like the next Messi.
You don't need him. We got Cavani. Cavani's a beast. All right. Anyway, it's beside the point. I think if Man City do get a Kane or a Haaland, it's just going to be over. They'll win everything. They'd just be so far clear of everybody else. If they got an elite striker, it'd be ridiculous.
Is Aguero leaving?
Yeah, Aguero's leaving. He's most likely going to join Barcelona.
Wow.
To go back to his homie Messi.
As if Barca would... Sure, I thought Messi wanted to leave Barca.
Yeah, but he's changed. I think it was just a money ploy, to be honest.
But aren't they shit now?
They're broke, but they're not shit, I don't think.
But yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see if Man City can sort of will muster up. They obviously can because they've got a shit ton of money. But if they will muster up sort of funds to get Harry Kane, a guy like Harry Kane, which would be absolutely unstoppable. So yeah.
Okay, does that conclude the
I think that's
soccer
concluded
chat?
the. Just hold up. Rephrase it. Has this concluded the football chat? Yes, it has.
Football.
It has, and I think I'll probably rant about football all the time because how depressing it is to be a Man United fan with Man City and Liverpool being so much better than us, which is kind of sad. But yes, it is concluded. So you want to talk about the UFC?
Yeah? Yeah, sure thing. Okay, so on the weekend we had UFC 250 something. I can't remember the number, but
Right. There's so many. It's just like every week. It's like
it was one of the pay-per-views, and the lightweight title was up for grabs. The first lightweight championship since Khabib relinquished the belt and retired. The bout took place between Michael Chandler and Charles
I'm loving
Oliveira.
this commentary, by the way. This
Michael Chandler, obviously, coming over as a former Bellator champ, only had one fight in the UFC, KO'd Dan Hooker, knocked him the fuck out, and then got a title shot. Do I agree with that? Fuck no, he did nothing. He should not be anywhere near that belt, but, Dana gave him the shot, so whatever. Charles Oliveira on an 8-fight win streak, sure thing, he can have a shot. The fight itself was pretty insane. Chandler knocked down Oliveira in the first round, nearly finished him, and then at the very start of the second round, Oliveira KO'd Chandler to win the belt.
Well, yeah. I mean, I kind of focused more on Tony Ferguson's side of it, but yeah.
Okay, let's focus on Tony Ferguson's side.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Tony Ferguson's done.
Yeah, it's just sad because obviously one of our close mates. He's a big El Kikui fan.
Yeah, he realizes he's done now.
Yeah, it's just really sad to see a guy that was just. I mean, he's a lunatic. Let's be real. He called McGregor chicken nuggets in the middle of.
He is the reason people are scared of concussion. Yeah, because that's what happens here.
Did you hear what he said in the press conference? Dana White.
Yeah, that was funny though.
He's still a nut job.
And they raised the bonuses from 50k to 75k because he asked for it. Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's sad because you see before that Gaethje fight how sort of big his name was. I mean, Khabib gave him so much respect, and even though Tony kind of like roasted him to his face in the press conference, you saw that Khabib sort of acknowledged how big of a threat Tony was. But yeah,
but Khabib would have destroyed him.
Yeah, Khabib is gonna just destroy anyone at this point. But
I mean, I don't know. I think Oliveira is like pretty scary because his jiu-jitsu is insane.
Yeah, but Khabib is just a different level. Khabib is a different level to I think anyone. Like, although I don't like his fighting style because I think it's I don't want to say it's boring, but it's just like. Just going to take him down. You're just going to sit on his face and just teabag him for about 3 rounds and then just going to tire him out and then just going to ground and pound him. But I think that you saw the dominance against Gaethje and a dominance against McGregor, and it's just ridiculous how good of a fighter he is, and how much he can just wrestle. He can just maul people around a octagon, and I think that Tony fight was kind of destined not to happen because it got called off like 3 times.
I mean, it was like 5 or 6 times it got booked and cancelled.
But I would have loved to see that fight. I mean, mainly for the fact that Tony has no fear. I mean, did you see that? I can't exactly remember what fight, but he got into that arm bar at the end.
That was against Oliveira.
Was it? Against Oliveira? Okay, yeah, against Oliveira. And he nearly broke his... It was going on for like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
He had his arm... he had his arm in an arm bar for 10 seconds. And he just held it. It was like, keep it going, and the bell rang, and it was just crazy to see. Because Tony...
That happened in this fight this weekend. He got his leg snapped in half, but he didn't tap.
See, that's what I'm saying. He's a lunatic.
Yeah.
He's an absolute crazy guy.
Yeah.
But, he says like shit like he runs with the wolves for like his training.
And he's got an iconic call out, where you at McNuggets. Yeah. That's quite funny.
It's going to be sad to see him sort of fall to the wayside of I still think obviously he's going to be fighting, but he's going to be fighting I don't want to say irrelevant fights, but it's going to have to take like a 3-fight win streak to get back to.
Yeah, and he's like 37, so he's too old to get back to the title. But yeah, basically Oliveira's first defense probably is going to be against the winner of Dustin Conor, the trilogy.
I mean, I really want Conor to do well. Like, I know
I love Conor.
There aren't many Conor fans.
Fanboy.
There aren't many Conor fans out there since he got absolutely destroyed by Khabib, and he lost to, especially he lost to Poirier. But I think I just want him to be where he was. I mean, when you watch the Alvarez fight, and it's on YouTube, it's like a free fight that the UFC put out. You watch him fight Alvarez and how unbelievable that performance was, and you saw how he just sparked unconscious Jose Aldo like a 10-year champ, just like that.
Yeah.
And I think I don't want to say it's like the good old glory days, but it's just the nostalgia that I have with watching the UFC in the...
When Conor's active, winning fights, talking shit, that's when...
Yeah, and I don't want to sound like he shouldn't do that, but like, when he's being like appreciative of his opponent, like, I respect this guy as a man, he's a man, I respect this guy, I'm going to... That's all good, that's all...
But you lose, so stop doing it.
But yeah, I mean... When he talks shit, it's just so fun to watch. And I think when he just picks fights and he just goes right up to someone and says, "You're a fucking twat," I just love it. And I hope he comes back like that. But I don't know what weight he would go into, to be honest.
55.
I don't know if he prefers welterweight, to be honest.
Oh, fuck no, he would get killed at welterweight.
Yeah, I mean, Kamaru Usman wants
His
him.
only welterweight win was against Nate Diaz, who's a lightweight.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's going to be interesting who the UFC match him up with if he beats Poirier.
He's going to get a title shot, for sure.
Again, I think he'll lose that title shot if he beats Poirier. Like, you watched the Poirier fight, and we watched it live at a pub. He just got destroyed by those leg kicks, even though... But he was landing against Poirier, but Poirier just destroyed him with leg kicks, and you saw after the fight he couldn't walk. So it's going to be interesting to see how he defends that in the sort of trilogy fight, but should be interesting.
But, yeah, this is my prediction. So whoever wins out of Conor and Dustin will obviously fight Oliveira. I think if Oliveira wins that fight, Khabib will come back for 30-0 against Oliveira.
I don't think he will.
Because he doesn't like rematches. He wants to fight someone new.
I think
he hasn't fought Oliveira.
If Conor beats Poirier and then beats Oliveira, I think he'll come back for Conor.
He doesn't want to fight Conor again because he thinks that's.
I think the almighty dollar would want him to fight.
He's rich enough. He doesn't need money.
I just think that if Conor keeps on talking smack about him, I think there's no way that he refuses it. I just think that Khabib I think he appreciates legacy more than any other fighter in history, probably.
I think he's more likely to come back for Oliveira than Conor. But
I think in terms of legacy, if you beat down Conor McGregor, a two-time champ, twice, I think that in terms of what it does for your legacy, just sort of puts your level above guys
Conor's
like GSP
lost to fucking
and
like
John Jones.
Connor's lost like fucking 4 of his last 5 fights or something.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Conor has to win against Oliveira. If he fights Oliveira, and he has to beat Poirier to even have that fight considered.
Yeah.
Righty.
Well, yeah, I think that wraps it up. Are we done?
Do you want to send it off, buddy?
Yeah, right. So that's the conclusion of this week's episode. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Go follow us on Instagram.
TikTok. We're creating a TikTok.
We're creating a TikTok. Go follow that. Yeah, it's on to bigger and better things, you know.
Yeah, fuck you.
Getting the hang of this in-person thing. We're going to be millionaires by the end of this year. Let's go.